Big Mooncake for Little Star by Grace Lin. How are you today, my friends? How are you today? I hope that you're okay, my friends. Oh, deep in my heart, I want to say, I hope that you're okay today. I haven't played the egg shaker in a while. Today we're going to read A Big Mooncake for Little Star. And I think it's very important that we read the bit of information. It's a note from Grace Lin, the author and the illustrator. It's very beautiful, by the way. Let's listen to this first. The Mid-Autumn Moon Festival is my favorite Asian holiday, and I've been trying to pass that love on to my young daughter. Luckily, she adores its most important customs, eating mooncakes and telling stories about the moon. This entire story is going to be about the moon. Mooncakes, with their molded designs, enchanted her so much that we even looked at mooncake photos online. There we discovered many different types, some flat and pale, just like the real moon, she declared. And with those words, the seed of an idea came. That seed blossomed into this book. It doesn't have any roots in Chinese mythology, but I tried to imbue it with all of the traits I associate with the Moon Festival: quiet joy, love, and beauty. I hope it is another story you can share during that holiday or any night you wish to feel those things. And then when we open this book and take the slipcover off, we see this most beautiful, I'm going to come over here and show this to you, two-sided book where we move through all of the phases of the moon. By the way, did you know that? If you look up at the sky, I think you do know this, if you look up at the sky and you see the moon, on any day it can look very different. Sometimes it's very round, it's perfectly round, and that's called a full moon. And sometimes you can only see like the letter D, that's a quarter moon. And then sometimes you can't see any moon, that's called the new moon. And then sometimes you just see a sliver, that's a crescent. And then sometimes you see not quite a circle, but more than a quarter, and that's called a gibbous. Isn't that a fun word? Full moon, gibbous, crescent, and of course we have a quarter moon. And there are different names for when the moon is sort of when the moon starts new, you can't see it at all. And then it starts to grow from a crescent, and that is called waxing. A waxing crescent is when it's growing from nothing. So perhaps here we see the moon is a waxing crescent, and then it gets larger and it's still waxing until it is the first quarter. And then it is a waxing gibbous. That means it's growing to be full. Waxing gibbous until we get to a full moon. And then it starts to wane or go away. Waning crescent all the way down to new again. It's pretty cool. I love the way that the author did that here. Now, I also quite adore the splash page. This is probably the most intricate and beautiful and important splash page I've ever seen since I've been reading books. You ready to see the splash page? It shows you an entire scene from our author and her child's life. I'm gonna bump, of course, into the camera, which I love to do. I'll start by bringing it way out here. Can you see everything that's happening in this? Yeah. Over here, we see so many ingredients. And this is from the yellow classroom, and a friend, Gus, gifted it. And here are various flowers and tea and sugar and bread. And here's a bottle of milk that has spilled and made a swirly spiral with measuring cups. And here, a child is perhaps pouring sugar into a bowl with the bunny. And aren't these, I really adore how these illustrations are perfectly black in the background. And then Mama and her child have on beautiful star pajamas. And there is the mooncake. Look at how very large that mooncake is. I see eggs and vanilla and honey and flour. And then over here is another chair and spoons. And the clock shows the phases of the moon. See, we were talking about the moon. We have where you can't see it, it's new. Yeah? Well, come on, go and focus. And then we have the waxing crescent. All the way up to the number 3 where we have the first quarter, waxing gibbous, up to the full moon at 6. And then it starts to wane or go away. Waning gibbous, second quarter, waning crescent, back to new moon at 12. A big mooncake for little star. Look at how large that mooncake is that Mama's putting into the oven. Such a whimsical tale. Little Star's mama laid the big mooncake onto the night sky to cool. Now, little Star, Mama said, your mooncake took us a long time to bake, so let's see if you can make it last a while. Can you remember not to touch this big mooncake until I tell you to? Yes, Mama, Little Star said, nodding. Little Star is the child's name, and little stars are what are on the child's and the mama's pajamas. And Mama has placed the mooncake in the sky so that it becomes the moon. And we can even see Little Star remembered as she brushed her teeth and washed her face and snuggled into bed. Do you notice that the illustration is in the middle of what looks like a beautiful full moon? And she fell asleep. But in the middle of the night, Little Star woke up. And she forgot everything her mama had said and only remembered the big mooncake. It looks so delicious, doesn't it? Well, pat, 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 pat. Little Star's soft feet tiptoed to the big mooncake. Would her mama notice if she just took a tiny nibble? Little Star didn't think so. Yum. But was somebody coming? Little Star flew back to bed. And do you see how the crumbs from the mooncake appear to be almost stars? And if the camera would focus, that I could show you. See, all of those crumbs look like stars now. The next night, Little Star remembered the big mooncake again. That one bite had been so sweet and tasty. Was the cake still up there? Yes, it was. There was that big mooncake, an almost perfect circle. That means the circle is going away, So it is a waning gibbous. That means it's going to be going away. Would her mama notice if she took another little nibble? Little Star didn't think so. And I love how all of the crumbs appear to be stars too. Yum! Little Star flew back to bed. She almost looks as if she is a shooting star, doesn't she? She eats a bit of the mooncake in the sky and flies back to bed, dropping bright crumbs and looking like a shooting star. We'll get a close-up on her. Let's see if we can get in there. There she is. She has such a joyful smile on her face. And the next night, what do you think Little Star remembered? The big mooncake, of course. Would Mama notice if she took another tiny nibble? Little Star didn't think so. Yum. So Little Star is causing the moon to wane or go away by eating it. And the night after that, what did Little Star do? Even her bunny looks a little concerned now. Nibble, nibble, yum. Night after night, Little Star took tiny nibble after tiny nibble of the big mooncake. So we had it full, and then it starts to go away, meaning it's waning, and it's waning. And we're down to a quarter. Oh, there's a perfect quarter. And now it's becoming a bit of a crescent. And now it's becoming a smaller crescent. And an even smaller crescent. She's eating so much. Oh my goodness, look at how much of that moon has been eaten. Now she can sit on it like a stool and continue to eat until it is a tiny sliver of a waning crescent. That means a crescent that is going away. Waning is going away. Until one night, Little Star's mama went to look for the big mooncake. Where was it? It was gone. Instead of a glowing round cake, there was just a trail of twinkling crumbs. Little Star's crumbs had made stars. And when you can't see the moon at all, that means it's a new moon. The sun isn't shining on it at all. If we can get Mama to focus, she looks so tranquil and happy, not frustrated at all. Isn't that interesting in Mama's hair? Did you notice Mama's hair is black, but it's not quite as black as the background. So what the artist did here is to add a bit of gray, and then that white is showing the moon or some light shining on top of Mama's head. It's a beautiful way to make reflections and shadows. Little Star, Mama said, shaking her head even though her mouth was curving into a smile. You ate the big mooncake again, didn't you? Little Star looked up, her grin reflecting her mama's smile. Yes, Mama, said Little Star, nodding. Look at all of those crumbs that look like stars in the galaxy. Now let's go make another one. Aw, they're going to make another one. And of course we land back at the splash page. Isn't that so neat how even this book is like the cycles of the moon, right? Because now we're all the way back to making another mooncake. So we're back at another full moon, as opposed to being at a new moon where you can't see anything at all, where it's just black. Isn't that such a beautiful story? And I love how the story, so we know that in real life, the moon, just because of how the sun shines off of it and how it moves in circles around the earth and the earth around the sun, the moon appears to grow or wax and then shrink or wane, even though that's not really what it's doing. And so we also have a beautiful holiday, a Chinese holiday, where moon cakes are used. And so the moon cake can represent the moon, especially as a little girl eats it from a full moon through the waning gibbous to the final quarter, all the way down to the waning crescent. And then when they have eaten the entire thing, and it has made all of the stars of the universe, and you can't see the moon anymore, and it's a new moon, we make another. And that's what happens when the moon goes from a new moon, and now it starts to grow again, and it waxes. Waxing crescent, getting bigger. Waxing crescent, getting bigger, until it is a first quarter, and then a waxing gibbous, and a full moon again. And so the story is like the phases of the moon. And the illustrations are just gorgeous. Thank you for hanging out and reading A Big Mooncake for Little Star with me. I look forward to seeing you next week, and I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Mwah, mwah.